What's up, friends? James Nguyen here with the Alpha Red Comic Channel. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday evening. I hope you have sharp pencils and a blank sheet of paper. Tonight we are going to draw Nightwing, Nightcrawler, not Nightwing. Now, that would be a good one. Nightwing. Maybe next week. Are there any Nightwing fans out there? Maybe we can do Nightwing next week. But Nightcrawler. And I'm going to tell you why. Why? We're doing a Nightcrawler. Here's the drawing board. This is what I'm reading, guys. This is what I've been reading in the past week or so. So that is really what has inspired this week's drawstream. So I forgot how much I liked Chris Claremont's writing. I used to think it was too wordy. When I discovered Chris Claremont, he was writing while Jim Lee was drawing the X-Men. And I just wanted to see the pictures. I just wanted to see Jim Lee's artwork, and all these word balloons were all over the place. But now as I go back and read them, the Chris Claremont ones are the ones that are the ones that fulfill me more, even though I was more excited at the time to see Jim Lee's artwork. So let me jump over here to see if anybody is chatting. I don't know what's going on with my thing here. What's going on, Jogron? I'm gonna get it right. I'm gonna get it right here, Jogron. Thanks for joining me. And Hatet Gyal. Hey James. He says, hey James, you are going to be at Syracuse Comic-Con? I'm going to be at the Syracuse Collectors Con. I know that I don't know if that's the same one that you're talking about. And I think that's at the end of March. So yes, I am gonna be there. I plan on it. I was invited. I said yes. I know there's not as much information going on. He's announcing a lot of like wrestlers and stuff like that. So I know that Lynn, the promoter, does not want to overwhelm people with how many guests are there. How many announcements that he makes, because he wants every guest to have like their name simmer a little bit on Facebook. So I don't. Yes, I will be there. So yeah, Chris Claremont, his writing really the first part of this story. Let me see. Let me bring that now. Can I bring this over? Can I bring this over without dropping everything and messing everything up? Do I have the power? All right. So I was just really impressed. I picked it up. This trade paperback, guys, is 18 issues of X-Men, and you should see this lineup of artists that are writing, that are drawing Chris Claremont stories. Alan Davis. So I really picked it up because of the Alan Davis artwork, but I didn't realize that Oliver Coipel was drawing some, and Tom Rainey. Those guys are some of my favorite. I don't know what's going on. Is it choppy for you guys? Is the video feed down here choppy? I hope not. Okay, Lane. I will call you Lane instead of Jalgron. So what's going on, Rod? Appreciate you being here. Lane says, ha, Chris, y'all draw good. Hey, I hope we maybe see you draw Malice, Sue Storm from Rivals at some point. Sure, you can request that. I was thinking about that today as I was thinking about what to draw, and that did come to mind. But because I was enjoying so much of this X-Men trade paperback, this is really weird how slow this other camera doesn't seem to be working. Hang on, let me take it out and put it back in. That would not be cool if this camera doesn't work. I'm going to change that to that for a second, just a second, guys. Nope. Nope, bear with me. that back on. Kaboomski. All right, that seems to be working, but it's definitely hesitating. So we'll see if we have to improvise, guys. But let me keep reading through the chats, and then we'll get to the drawing. Yeah. So Lane, I'm open to doing some of the rivals costumes, because that's what people are talking about, and I want people to see how I draw it. No, I'd be happy to do Sue Storm is next week. Let's do Sue Storm next week. All right, I promise. That's a promise. That's your real first name, okay? When I do the YouTube streams, just use my actual name. All right, we'll do, Lane. And Hatet Guayal, you'll have to maybe give me a name that I can call you as well, because Hatet is a little. I'm gonna have to think about that before I say it. Is it cool if I show you my comic portfolio at Collectors Con? Absolutely, I welcome it. Absolutely. Ernest, Big Ernest is in the house. Sounds like a little static. Okay, I haven't. Let me know if it's still staticky, guys. I'm ready to see this Nightcrawler. Well, before we jump right into the Nightcrawler, let's go over some. Boy, it is frozen. I'm looking at this camera, and I'm gonna unplug the camera, and then plug it back in. I don't know how to. That's probably not a good idea either. Gonna try it though. Gonna try it, because it's not gonna work out if this is. See how it freezes, guys? I am gonna turn it onto this camera. Will it have to? Hang tight. Aha. Now you guys know where I keep my secret cameras. Let's see if I can make this guy work. Sorry about the technical difficulties. It was working fine. I did check it out before we started, and it seemed to be working fine, but I wasn't moving anything around, honestly. So it was. What you're looking at there is page number 1 of alphabet number 7, where I introduce you to some new characters. Let me see if I can move this out of the way. I have everything taped to my little janky camera set up here. So, doing stuff on the fly, guys. Doing stuff on the fly. I promise I was pretty prepared to do this. I tested everything. Like I said, I just did not move anything around because I didn't have to. All right, this is the other camera, but I think this camera might be a little too close. Let me unplug this guy, replug him back in. Nope, that's upside down. Hopefully you guys don't get sick. See, the reason why I don't use this one is because I can't zoom out. It's like a super close-up camera. So I took that other one out and replugged it back in. So let's give her a shot here. You better work. Come on. Talk to me. I do have one more camera that I can try, but this guy. Sorry, guys. I'm ready to see this Nightcrawler. And Lane says, Lane sounds like the YouTuber name. Anyway, since it's a street type, my parents were real bored when they nailed my name. What can I say? Very funny, very funny. Yeah, it's not moving right. One more try. Got to keep the technology close. How's the sound, Ernest? You guys, does it still sound staticky? Let me see. See the full picture. Yeah. The camera here, this 360 thing that follows me around, gives me no privacy. You guys get to see the whole messy office. If I walked around the other side of the computer screen, you guys would be shocked. Shocked. All right. Let's see if this guy works. I'm going to take that out. See? It is so... Let's try that. Hit OK. You can do it. You can do it. Maybe not. That doesn't like it. Is it this? Nope, that's the old guy. How about this USB camera? Nope, glitchy. That's not good, huh? That's a little distracting. I'm drawing in the future. Let me see, guys. I don't know what is wrong with my tech here. I'm just going to turn this off for a second. And it is just glitching away. Let's do this one. Well, as my dad used to say. My dad used to just go, well. Come on. Let's turn this on. Let's open it up. Maybe you guys will just have to get like the strobe light version as I draw, because as I said, I tested it, but like I also said, I didn't move the stuff around, so I just knew that it was on. So that was page 1. Page 2 is fully penciled. I won't tell you too much about it because I want you guys to read it. But I am slowly moving towards moving back to more of a Joe Madureira style for the guys. I just want to make the guys more masculine and heroic looking. And as I was drawing it, I was just like, they just look like normal people. And I always admired Joe Madureira. And so maybe some of you have seen the picture that I posted on Facebook with the homage cover, the evergreen homage cover for Alpha Red number 6. So if you supported me for Alpha Red number 6 through Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and Fund My Comic, those were limited homage covers, and I regret doing that because I really like them. So I wanted to do an evergreen kind of homage cover. So maybe you've seen it, but this is page 3. This is mostly the thumbnails. I wanted the women to look more feminine too. So for the women, I'm using J. Scott Campbell's style for the women. So hopefully that won't hurt anybody's feelings that I move towards that kind of a look for the females. They'll be covered up a little bit more than Mr. J. Scott Campbell does it, but this is the homage variant for Alpha Red number 6, and I'm having it colored right now, and that will be the evergreen homage cover for anybody that's interested. And this I just had in case we finish early, which we never do, except for that one time I finished early. But we're gonna ink Alpha Red. I mean, some of these pictures. These pictures were created because I'm doing some trading cards for Alpha Red number 7. So these are some of the major players, and I see that it's frozen again. So this is Crazy John. He'll play a pretty big part in Alpha Red number 7. Wingman is back in issue number 7. So I always have to kind of keep a, boy, it's really frozen, isn't it? Yikes. So you'll just hear me talk, I guess, and then it'll just pop in with new stuff. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. Maybe I'll show you. Maybe you'll just be kind of looking at me, and then I'll just pop it up here. Does that? Nope. The camera's confused. Oh boy. It is just straight up frozen down here. What in the world? What in the world? Come on, come on. Oh, there it is. It just popped in for a hot second. So what you're seeing frozen there is my picture of Wingman, the character design of Wingman. I don't know if you can see that, but that's frozen there on the screen. And then what you see now frozen on the screen is the trading card image that I'm going to be drawing. So I use the character sketch for that, and then so that I can keep the costume the same. Otherwise, the characters are fairly new to me too. I design it, and then they'll be in certain panels, but then they kind of disappear, and so I don't use them. So I'm not as familiar with them. So it is just frozen on him. There you go. It's gonna be a fun one, guys. This is not one for the record books here, but this is one of the villains for the next issue. Her name is the Searcher. So, like I said, I'm going to be using some references using J. Scott Campbell for the females. So, hopefully, that will make it a little bit more easy to look at, some of the women, because I did draw a picture of the Searcher for the cover of Alpha Red #7, and I was just like, meh, it was meh. So if you see here, and I'm going to show you how I start off an image just from a blank sheet of paper, and I'm going to do the same thing I did for this and for the last couple images that I just showed you, where I pull from Joe Madureira, not just like the pose, the energy. I'm not lifting the whole thing, because I'll change light sources. Obviously, I'll change the costume. I don't think Joe Madureira ever drew Nightcrawler, but I use his artwork to inspire some of the stuff. And this also is inspired by, like, hang on, this Alpha Red picture. If you look up, this was a Wolverine pose, and it was just a silhouette of Wolverine drawn by Joe Madureira. So that's where I kind of pick up some inspiration, and I don't know how people feel about that anymore, where everybody's looking for this authenticity that you have to somehow magically create the image from your head and never be inspired by any artist. It just feels like you feel dirty because you look at a cool picture that Joe Madureira drew and you're inspired by it, and you kind of copy the girth or whatever. I don't see it that way. I used to always try to copy Jim Lee, and then I tried to copy Joe Madureira. Joe Quesada was also an influence of mine. So this is also a character that will be introduced in Alpha Red #7. So if I have time, those things are on the drawing board. And so I'm going to pull out a blank sheet of paper so that we can get this party started. And then we're going to look through some old Joe Madureira comics, because he doesn't draw very many comics anymore, and then see if I can identify any Nightcrawler type poses, whether it be male or female. It doesn't even matter, because the energy that comes from his artwork is it just has a lot of energy. So that's the best way to put it. Let me catch up on some chats, and I will jump right in to to this. I'm really ready to see Nightcrawler, Lane says, with his YouTuber name. Does Alpha Red have any other comics characters that might debut at some point in 2025? So I just answered that. So yeah, Searcher. The Searcher is a new villain, and Zed Keel, the Angel, with the mohawk and the tattoos and stuff. He's a big part of it. He fights with Alpha Red in issue number 7. So that's in 2025. I hope to have 2 issues of Alpha Red completed in 2025. So that is the goal. Let me see. Lane says, we see the full picture. Yep. I like the desk setup you have. I actually built this desk. So I took a small desk and I split it in half, and then I put a new tabletop on it. So now it like L's around. So I like to build stuff too. Lane says, I'm trying to bounce back between you and a stream I'm watching. No worries. I appreciate you being here, Lane. Ernest says, sounds good when you aren't using the other camera. Okay. Maybe the other camera. Maybe the other camera was trying to. The sound from the other camera. All the little webcams have their own microphone, and they all want to be heard, and so I have to mute them. So maybe if you're hearing an echo or scratchy sound, let me know, and I'll make sure to turn off the other cameras. But let me see. Fong is here. What's going on, Fong? Sorry I got on late. No worries, brother. No worries. I'm having technical difficulties that I don't know that I'll be able to overcome. So it'll be like jumpy like this throughout, it seems. Got on late, driving home from the pickleball game. Aren't we too old to play pickleball, Fong? Come on, man. I'm kidding. Ernest says, how's the AR6 campaign shipping going? It's going well. Let me know if you received yours yet, because you should have received yours, Ernest. I sent that out earlier in the week, early last week. So I've seen people, other people who I sent out at the same time, get theirs. So yes, the Searcher is dangerous looking. Yes. I'm sorry. I jumped too far. Fong says, I'll try not to typo when I'm driving. Just speak into it. Just hit that microphone, brother. We'll forgive you. Homage cover looks awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Ernest says, the Searcher looks dangerous. Yep, got that. Lane says, Joe always made me crazy when he abandoned Battle Chasers, right? Oh, man. I did like that he followed up, that he finished up the thing. Even with a different writer, it completed that story a little bit, and it left more to left you kind of wanting for more still, but I dug it. I hope he continues with the story. But so what I'm doing is, as I'm looking for poses, I'll just look through, and sometimes they're just small poses like this. Just as I'm looking around, even like this silhouette. Let me see if it's kind of glitchy. But there's a silhouette of the little girl jumping, and so I'm just gonna keep flipping until I see a Nightcrawler type pose, and I won't make you guys wait too long, because I don't want to. We're 25 minutes into it, and mostly technical difficulties. And I do want to show you guys a special surprise. So once I find the pose, I do want to, so this is what I do. So since I give my kids access to this trade paperback of Battle Chasers, I have to censor it, because Red Monica is very curvaceous, and Joe Madureira doesn't hold back when he's drawing her. Lots of cleavage, lots of rear end shots. And so if it unfreezes, you'll see how I have to censor some of the images. There's nothing really in the writing that is that is that bad. That is bad at all. I don't think he curses at all in Battle Chasers, but I'm just, and it is just frozen there. I apologize, guys. This might be a bit of a bust. And oh, looks like it glitched in, but still frozen. So looking for a Nightcrawler-esque pose. As I'm flipping, hopefully we can get, like, can you see down here? Yep. So like this is a piece of electrical tape that I put over some cleavage. I think, I'm sure it was cleavage, like some extreme cleavage. So I do censor it so that I can share these things with my son. See, if you see, I don't know if you remember this image, very cleavagey, just has electrical tape all over it. But they get the picture. They get that it's a little salacious, and they do appreciate the being able to have access to it. And if they grow up and if they don't struggle with pornography or whatever, they can discover their own copy with the cleavage, and I will chastise them. I'm kidding. It's between them and the Lord. But for right now, they're under my care, and I am conscientious of that. All right, I think there's a battle when the girl escapes, and there's more action. See, I remember this girl, she escapes. There's lots of cleavage here, so there's lots of electrical tape everywhere. I don't know if you can see the electrical tape. I had to cut it really small because it was just kind of tiny. But his stuff just had so much energy, just like them standing around. Just even that had some energy, has energy to it. So I'm not gonna make you wait too long here. If I don't find anything in the next minute or so, we're just gonna jump right in, guys. I'm gonna show you the surprise, and we're just gonna jump right in. Might just pick the most random one and go for it, because any pose that he has is a good one, and we'll just make it a Nightcrawler pose. All right, just the next action-y kind of pose will be the one. This was always one of my favorite pages. I don't know if you guys, it's frozen right now, but man, hopefully it clicks on. And I do believe I used this pose in Alpha Red here. Well, it's kind of frozen, and so I'm just going to jump right into it. So when it unfreezes, you guys will hopefully see the beginnings of a Nightcrawler sketch. I'm going to set this bad boy up. Yep. So it unfreezes. And before I forget about the surprise, so in July, I got the hankering to get Alpha Red's mask 3D printed, and it finally came in after months of really battling with the people who created it. They actually did come through, and there is an actual physical mask for Alpha Red. Now, it's a little too narrow to put on your face, so I am gonna have to cut down the middle and then and make it happen. But guys, it's so awesome to be able to hold this thing. Let me see if I can stick it underneath here, and if it's not freezing. It's still frozen, but it's super exciting to have that mask. And I'm looking at other alternatives after I split it in half to be able to make it semi-wearable. Not that I'm ever going to cosplay it, but if somebody were to cosplay it, they'd be able to get a copy from me. So let me catch up on some chats, and then in we go. Okay. Lane says, Joe was maybe, yep. J. Scott says, what's up, James? Happy Sunday. I'm sorry. It is my birthday on Tuesday, so there's a lot of happy going on. I just see happy birthday, but happy Sunday, J. Scott. Ernest says, that's an awesome mask. Yes, sir. I was over the moon when it came in on Friday. I was so distracted. I was trying to figure out how I'm gonna make it work. So, all right. So I didn't see a pose that was like obvious to me that was gonna be awesome. So we're just gonna jump right in and do it old school style, where we're just thinking about a guy who jumps around, who bamfs around. He's got 3 fingers on each hand, and let's see how dynamic we can make Mr. Nightcrawler. So I just toy around with this. I thought I would be able to easily find some images, and I would easily also find I would not have any technical difficulties since I tested everything, but obviously not the case. So hopefully we can get something moving enough to make it worth the video. All right, so his hand will be up here doing something here. Like when I think of a 3-fingered hand, I always think Ninja Turtles. So forgive me if his hand turns out a little Ninja Turtle-y, because that is how I imagine it in my brain. So there's the thumb. There's one finger. Not crazy about the thumb. Let me think. So if the thumb goes like this, so if his hand goes like this, the angle of the thumb will be like so. And I don't think he has fingernails because he wears gloves. You guys will correct me if I'm wrong. And so when I try to draw a more dynamic pose, I always think of things that come at you. Like when I think of Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man, you know, there's a foot. There's a foot or a hand that's always flying at you. So I want to make sure that we have some of that going on. So he's got more of a narrow face, so we'll start off with a little V. Then he's got, actually maybe we'll just grab this X-Men and get inspired by a little Alan Davis, because that's what really inspired this week's thing anyway. Let's see if there's any poses that jump out. Jump. I think that's going to be more of a waste of time here. So don't want to waste your time. So maybe the hand's too big. Gonna take that down. And this, guys, is why I start off with a mostly penciled picture. So we'll have his fingers coming that way so that it's not such an upward angle. So I have a little bit more room to do the anatomy out this way to make it come at you on the one end while the other end is going away from you. So my main influences way back when were Joe Quesada and Jim Lee and Joe Madureira. And if you dissect their styles, especially with Joe Quesada, it was very three-dimensional. Like it would reach out at you, much like Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man would. So let's see if I can push his leg back. What would be? So if that arm goes up, then this knee or leg would go up. So we got that going. And if his arm goes back this way, then we'll do his leg back or down this way. No, maybe he's bamfing, so both legs have to come out. Both legs. There we go. That's looking more Nightcrawler-y. So I was telling my son about Nightcrawler, as much as I know about Nightcrawler right now. And then I showed him the opening scene of X2. You guys remember that scene with Nightcrawler in the White House? And that is just as exciting as I remembered it. It definitely held up. The special effects weren't like super great. I don't know. I can't even say they're really great right now, because they are. You can tell the CGI. Back then there was a slightly different tells about the special effects were how they were noticeable, but the action was so good. Action was so good. And, like, in my mind, he's always got a smirk on his face. I don't know if that's... I'm not a huge Nightcrawler fan, but I know that his fans are very passionate. And I know that he's very Catholic. And so there's a lot of religious Christian overtones to his character, even though he looks like a devil, a demon. So I think the two polarizing ideas of him really kind of bring that out, like make him an interesting character. And I always liked his outfit. It was so simple, just kind of a red thing with an open V for the chest here. So it gave the artist a lot of, it allowed the artist, I think, to really shine with the anatomy. If they know their anatomy, then it can be fun to draw. Let's see how much time. All right. We're doing all right. Hopefully, I can get in here and do a little bit of inking. Let's see if I missed anything. Ernest says, yes, great scene introducing Nightcrawler. He converted Wolverine to believe in God. Yeah, I don't know. Was that just in the cartoon? Or was that also in the comic? Because I remember the scene. It's a pretty It's a pretty memorable scene from the X-Men cartoon way back when. But I didn't know if they were inspired by a storyline in the comics or not. So I think that was a very cool. It's a cool aspect of Nightcrawler that they, especially that they allowed that that kind of storyline to go through, where it seems like it's very anti-Christian anymore. And of course they have made it all kinds of weird. I think he officiated his mom's wedding, which is something I don't think he would have done. But that was some weird, crazy storyline, I think, in the past year and a half, where his storyline about his dad is no longer that his dad is a demon from hell, but his dad is actually a Mystique. I was trying to explain it to my son, and his brain was melting. I was like, yes, son, I'm afraid it's that weird. So I don't know if you guys are following that. Fong says, I remember Alan Davis's Excalibur run. Yes, he did a great Nightcrawler, for sure. Like, so when he returned to the X-Men on this X-Men, I don't know if it's called The End of History. It's because you're late. You came in late, Fong. I let you know that this is why I chose Nightcrawler, was because of the trade paperback. It's called X-Men Reloaded Volume 1. And it's written by Chris Claremont. It has 18 X-Men comic in it, and it is amazing. It's I didn't care so much for the second story arc. The first story arc was a 4-issue series written, drawn by Alan Davis, and it just looks fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I wish I would have picked it up at the time. I believe it said 2008 is when they came out. I'm not sure, but 18 comics for $40. It's a $40 trade paperback. I don't even remember when I got it, but at some point, I believe I picked it up at a convention last summer in June. Here in Syracuse. What's going on, Sofa King? Handsome. Sofa King handsome. Nice. I love it. Hello. Is this like a AMA sort of thing, or as far as art goes? Because I have a question. Fire away, Sofa King handsome. Ernest says, I remember it in the show. Don't know if it had it in the comics. They have ruined Nightcrawler in recent years. Definitely not respecting the character and his beliefs. For sure. All right, I think this is enough to maybe get into the inks, because I just want the composition to be there. Right, so all of his anatomy and stuff. And then I want to make sure that I have like all the places where the contrast is going to be. Make sure the costume is right. That I'm not bastardizing the costume. But yeah, so there's his forearm. That's where the glove would end. You get some contrast down here, some shadow, get his bicep in there, and then make sure it doesn't impede with his costume detail there. All right, Sofa King, what do you got? My question has to do with tracing. Is there merit as far as learning art from tracing? I've had a few artists go back and forth between it being good while others say it's bad. So I say it's good. I mean, you can't pass it off as your own. I mean, that would be kind of terrible. But as far as if you are learning, like, trace away. I mean, I remember tracing, and to be honest, with the homage covers that I do, let me see if they're within arm's reach here. So this is not a tracing, but it is pretty close. If you go and look at the cover for Savage Wolverine #6, you will see that it's this picture, right? So what I do is, for my homage covers, I take the best copy of one of those covers, and then I lighten the lines, and then I will draw over top of it. So it is my drawing, but I try to use as much of the poses as possible. I try to use the light sources, and I do that intentionally because the idea of an homage cover to me is to kind of attract the fans of that particular cover, which I count myself amongst those fans, and I want to instantly recognize it as something that came before, and I want to honor it with, kind of doing it not in my style, obviously, because I'm trying to ape their style so that it's recognizable. But I do not frown upon the tracing. All right, let's get into some inking. And we'll start with the face, because if you don't have a good face, you don't have a good picture. And we got 12 more minutes. So when I start on the face, I always start with the eyes, because if the eyes are all wonky, then it's all a mess. So you guys might, oh man, it is still frozen. I apologize, guys. Next week, actually, I might jump on more times this week. I just want to make sure that all the equipment is doing well. So don't be surprised if you see a Monday stream or a Tuesday. Whenever I have time, I'm going to jump on. I have a bunch of things to draw. I'll save the Sue Storm for next week. Lane. Jogron. It is a cool name. It sounds like a medieval villain or something. Jogron. I am Jogron. Or maybe it's a good guy name. I don't know. It's a good name. But we'll do the Rivals Sue Storm, because she happens to be the one that everybody seems to talk about. So I've only seen a couple of images. So we will show that the female form should be drawn in a feminine way, and it's okay that we are attracted to those drawings. I'm not trying to over-sexualize them, but the human form should not be something that we are ashamed of. We should just not exploit it, But yeah, Jim Lee, I used to be very attracted to his artwork because of how he drew women. So J. Scott Campbell makes a living drawing pretty much just a female figure. So that's whose style I'm going to emulate as I draw the next issue of Alpha Red. So what do you think, Sofa King? Handsome? Mr. Handsome? Do you only trace, I mean, at some point, you will want to graduate from tracing. But tracing as an exercise, as far as getting your hand-eye coordination and identifying different aspects of the picture, why an artist chooses a line that he chooses. Those are all valid reasons to trace. And inkers, I'm finding, are not just tracers. I know they get a bad rep, but it is not. It's not always. They are very important, especially when you look at the volume of work that John Byrne and George Perez used to do. He used to do 3 or 4 books a month. And although their lines were important, their penciling lines were important, they were not the be-all, end-all. Because you could tell if a lesser inker was put on your favorite artist. So inkers can make or break your lines, your pencils. So no hate for inkers, no disrespect to inkers. And if you are just a tracer, you really, I mean, that's your mindset is not right. You go in and you finish the picture. You do it. You add the things that are needed to complete the picture. So I know that they used to be called finishers. Instead of inkers. And it's because they were very talented artists themselves. And it showed, and a lot of those guys became pencilers. So, and it was just a product of how comics were made for mass consumption. You know, you want more of your character out there. The more often I can have Alpha Red hit a new comic, the better off it will be, because with every new comic, people will have a reason to jump aboard, and discover it. And it grows. Your fan base grows as people become more and more aware of your character. I don't know. How's it turn out here, guys? I'm trying to rush. We got 6 more minutes, and I want to do as much of them as possible. And maybe I'll jump off and then jump back on, or maybe I'll just, because we started off so glitchy, that I will just stick with it and finish it up, and then that way you will get a complete drawing. Because I typically try to cut the video off after an hour, but I know that my wife is not feeling well, so she's not going to want to hang out tonight after. She's already, I think, preparing for bed. So I would just be turning off the cameras and then finishing up the picture, or not finishing off the picture. So the cool announcement is that I am all done with the Alpha Red fulfillment. I do have a box down next to me filled with packages that are gonna hit the post office in the morning. So that will mean that everybody who I have an address for, there are 3 people who have not gotten back to me as far as where I can send their rewards. And so but aside from that, everybody's reward will be sent out. I did ask my daughter whether or not she had rebound another hardcover for you, and she hung her head and said she didn't have the time this week. She'll work on it this coming week. So I'm working on it. I'm working on it, bro. Let's see, Sofa King. Thank you very much for answering my question. I've just recently actually been tracing. Before that, it was perspective, boxes. Oh yeah, all the technical stuff is helpful, but there's something to be said about gesture drawing. You got to jump back and forth between gesture drawing and the technical stuff, because you do want to understand what perspective, is, because we naturally see it every day, and so when your perspective is bad, it really throws off the observer. So you definitely want to get some of that technical stuff down pat. Let me see if I missed anything else. Then chicken wiring figures. That was pretty helpful. Yeah. All those things. You can go through some of my older videos, and there's some that I do straight from scratch. Like this one was from scratch, but a lot of times I'll do it. I will come to it with a pencil drawing, and then I just mostly ink, or I just come and I do mostly the coloring. So I love that art is a skill that can be learned and so freely via internet and YouTube and everything, but sometimes it's hard to know exactly which step is next, Yep, I do. Or which way to go next. Yeah. So sometimes the options can freeze you, but don't let it freeze you. Just take a step in any direction, and if it's not the right time, then you move away. You move to the next thing. Fong says, "Okay, thanks, man. Much appreciated." Yeah. So it's definitely on the way. It's on her radar. She has all the stuff, and it's just a busy time for her. To answer the earlier question regarding pickleball, I don't know, but there are a bunch of younger people playing. Yeah, it's like younger people, millennials, and like boomers are playing pickleball. It's just like, I don't know very many Gen Xers who are pickleballing. But I'm in California, and maybe we're just built weaker. You guys in Syracuse? No, sir. No, it's just I think it's I don't know. It's just a generational thing. Those who have the time and it's just a weirder kind of sport. Like it's like table tennis, except you're like standing on the table. So, guys, usually I bow out at 9 o'clock here after an hour of drawing, but I'm gonna hang in there, and if you want to hang out, I would greatly appreciate it. But usually I try to make it an hour, just because of all the technical difficulties and how unprepared I was with the pose. I do want to kind of see this one through, and I got my man Sofa King, so handsome. What is it? Sofa King, handsome. Asking good drawing questions. I don't mind hanging out for a little bit extra time. If I hear my wife calling me from downstairs, I might abruptly cut it short, but I don't think she's feeling well, so she's not going to want to hang out tonight. I made sure to wash all the dishes. I know she was making some cheese or butter. She's a homemaker kind of wifey. So we make our own butter. When I say we, I mean her. So we get some raw milk from a farm half an hour away because Syracuse is not near any farms. But then she makes all kinds of stuff, yogurt. She makes her own mayonnaise. I was using the mayonnaise today for sure. It's good stuff. She is learning all the things, all the old skills. And she did not start off that way. She was very girl powery when we first met. And God kind of took her heart and softened her up for me, because I was having problems with a strong-willed woman. But things are so much nicer now. I don't know. She loves the Lord, and so she defers some things to me, where in the past she would have just insisted on her thing. And so it's nice to be included in some of the decisions. But she's not feeling well, so that means draw. What do you guys think so far? What do you think? Let's see if the camera angle is kind of weird here. I think because of my new setup, I have the board so straight up that the camera actually becomes like it's in the way, so you don't see it as well. Maybe there we go. If I go down, will the camera follow me down? It should. Not okay. Is that a Prismacolor fine liner? No, this is actually Zebra. It's a cheap kind of pen. I buy it off of Jet Pens. Not okay. Yeah, Syracuse, New York. That's where I am. Sofa King. I am on the East Coast. Where are you from? Where are you guys from? I know Fong is out west in California. I know I have people's addresses, so I don't want to dox anybody. So if you feel comfortable, you can share where you're at. But yeah, I've always been East Coast. Grew up in Pennsylvania, Harrisburg area. So my Commanders lost the playoff games, but a lot of my friends are happy because they're all Eagles fans. And I liked them when they were called the Redskins. I stopped liking them when they became the football team. And but I was rooting for them. I thought maybe they had a chance. They looked good against the Lions, but man, too many turnovers today. They did not look good, even from the very get-go. And the Eagles were bringing it, for sure. They were bringing the heat. They were doing everything right. So as I'm thinking through like where the shadows and stuff are, I'm intentionally making sure that there's this gray tone, like lots of rendering as I'm translating where the light source is, and but I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna this is gonna be like black in here, and when you see the contrast. When you see the contrast in a picture, that's really when it becomes more pleasing to the eye, because that's what we see in real life. We see a lot of contrast, and our eyes are drawn to the contrast of a strong light source. So don't be afraid to pick a strong light source and kind of lean into it, because that really often makes the difference between a mediocre picture and a nice picture. Is a good defined light source. So do not be afraid. Man, it is. I feel so bad that it's freezing up like this, guys. I thank you guys for hanging out. Anybody who's hanging out, because it as every time I look up and it's frozen, I just cringe a little bit. I die a little bit inside. And I don't have much luck with the technology as it is. And just for it to really glitch out, and it's really not my fault and beyond my control, kind of hurts. Kind of hurts me. Kind of hurts a little bit. Let's see if I missed anything here. Not okay is in California. Wow. You like the proportions. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to keep it dynamic. Looking good. Funk says, reminds me of Michelangelo you drew a couple of weeks ago back. Yep. So like, it's really hard when you're drawing anybody who is, especially with the with the three toes, 3 fingers, 3 toes and stuff. Like I don't know, you weren't here in the beginning, but maybe you were, where I said it might feel like a Ninja Turtle, just because that's what I'm imagining when I'm picturing his appendages, picturing his fingers and toes. I picture the Ninja Turtles, honestly. So, yeah, I apologize for the glitchy camera. And like I said, maybe this week, I'm going to try to do a little bit more on YouTube. Every time I say that, I do less. So maybe I don't want to jinx myself. But I do want to. I have a lot of people asking me to do other things. And it's really me saying no, because I want to prioritize Alpha Red, and anything I do online and stuff really takes away from more Alpha Red, and that's not what I want. The purpose of the channel is to really kind of bring attention to Alpha Red, that he exists, and I'm working on a website where you can get that makes it easier. But for right now, you can get it at starcrosscomics.com. You can pick up all the issues except for the new one, issue number 6. We're working on whether or not we make it a big deal when issue number 6 becomes available on Starcross Comics. So, or do we just announce when it's going to be available, and that's just that. So, just some things to think about when you're an independent comic creator. And it's all depends on you and how much you can get in front of people's eyeballs and convince them to give your comic a shot. That's all you can ask for, and hopefully you put some time and effort into creating it and making it worth people's time. All right, so let me see. So you want to make sure you get all the little stuff, because I want to come in here and really add all the places where it's going to have a lot of contrast. And I don't want to forget all the little spots that need attention. Because once you start putting in the really dark black lines, you can go too far with them if you haven't already kind of laid out some guidelines with some of the form. Like I'm trying to kind of outline some of the form of his thigh muscle here. I think these are called quads. Is that what the thigh muscle, like right above the knee? There's one on the inside, one on the outside. I believe those are quads. I'm not a big name of muscles guy. I know that even Jim Lee confessed it on those how to draw videos, that he did not know the names of a lot of the muscles that he was known for drawing. So, all right, I think that's good for. Nope, almost forgot his whole arm thing up here. Got away from it and forgot about it. I forgot about it. Let's see if anybody else. Sofa King says, "Oh heck yeah, man! Buffalo, New York. What? How are the Bills doing? Are you a believer, Sofa King?" Not really in Buffalo, but you probably know that city versus the small little corn farm town I live in. Aurora, is it? I know a couple of. I'm a traveling salesman by day, so I don't. That's not my territory of New York. My buddy Luis lives out that way, and he does the western part of the state. But I do have some clients out there, and so I am familiar with some of the little smaller towns out your way. Grand Island, are you familiar with Grand Island? Let me see. Home says Bay Area. That's right. California, where all the good Vietnamese food is at. Man, I'm jealous. I do have a cool Vietnamese restaurant that opened up. Actually, they have 2 locations. One is very close to me, but my wife does not like she doesn't like much food at all. She likes the food that she cooks. And that's about it. I mean, we go out. She likes burgers, so we'll go out to burger joints and stuff. But she's not she's not a foodie for sure. But my kids are. We like all kinds of food. So it's really, if Dad's paying, we might go out. But even then, my wife's like, "What am I gonna eat?" So we don't typically go out. Let's see. Funk says, "Yeah, sorry about the Commanders. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It was a heartbreaker. Like I forgot that the game was on. Thank goodness. We talked about it at dinner, and I was like, oh, okay. We looked up the highlights, and man, the guy just ran over, turnover after turnover. It's like hard to watch, even in like fast motion, and just brutal. Figure drawing says the leg muscles squishing against each other is pro. A lot of artists don't do that even close to correct. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, so like a lot of the guys who are good at it are the ones who influenced me. Jim Lee does it really well. Joe Madureira, Todd McFarlane used to do it really well. Even though his anatomy was a little wonky, it just like, it didn't matter. It's like, because you do squat down like that, and your muscles do like have to go someplace, right? So, JB says, good stuff. Thank you, JB. Sofa King says, oh, close to Aurora. Yeah, okay. Eden is, it's so small. Yeah, I guess I don't know exactly where Eden is. Nah, I'm not a believer. I don't really care for football. Yep, I know Grand Island. What's going on, Giovanni? What flag is that, Giovanni? Funk says the end before halftime was really bad. Yeah, the fumble on the kickoff return and the penalty for the late hit out of bounds was really bad. Yep. And that was, I didn't think that was very egregious. The late hit or the out of bounds hit, it didn't look too bad on the highlight reel. It was pretty close, but to be expected in a playoff game. Those guys are pushing all the limits. Pushing all the limits there. All right, let's, I think maybe that's good enough to go in with the thicker brush pen. What do you guys think? Are you ready for some contrast? Are you ready for some contrast? All right. So yeah, I use these cheap zebra pens. They're not, when I say cheap, they're like $2.50 a piece. I just bought a brand new set. This is the kind of the last of the old stuff. All right, so this is what I mean when I say contrast. So I have the gray area underneath his chin, right? And then I'll go in, and I don't want to take it all over with just a huge swath of black. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But you just go in, you just leave a little bit of the transition in the rendering. And then, but you have to go in, and that contrast really makes it begin to pop and give the muscle some form there. This line underneath here, I leave as a reflective light. If you know anything about any kind of still drawing, you'll know that as you have a strong light source coming from the top, there's always a light that comes in from the bottom, and that reflects like the surface, the closest surface. So don't forget that. It's not just a line that you leave for the colorist, although sometimes that's needed. But yeah, so you go in and you take all these hard shadows underneath here, just leaving, some of that underneath for that reflective, the hinting of reflective light. And like this bigger shadow would be the light wrapping around from the other side. So it's not just reflective light. The reflective light would be this line in here. In my mind, I'm no expert. This is just how I think and what I remember from art class in high school, and then studying other artists' work. And see how the contrast, I don't know if you see it, but I really like when it starts popping out. And I do this too, like so the hand is supposed to be closer to you. And so in my style, my inking style, and I get this from Joe Madureira and the people who ink Joe Madureira, where they really put a bold line around the thing in the foreground. So it really kind of catches your eye while it allows the other line work to work its way back into the background. Gosh, I'm cringing because I just looked up and it's frozen. And I appreciate you guys hanging with me. And you get little glimpses of it as it unfreezes. Like I said, I tested the camera before I started, and just because it turned on, I just assumed that it was working fine. I did not. Oh my goodness. Okay, is it kind of not freezing as much? I just got a text from my daughter. But then, as depending on, like, this is like a fast drawing, so I'm not inking like I would if this was going to be some kind of published picture. This is more akin to what I would do at a convention, if I got a commission at a convention. So it would be a little mix of speed and form, but really like the fine inking is not something I prioritize when I'm at a convention. I just want to make sure that they get their favorite character in a decent pose, and that it has the energy that I intend, or that they hopefully that I assume that they want to see their character in, because the compliments that I get typically are that the poses are dynamic, and so I think that's what people come back to me for every time. When they see me, they come back for the, like the hand coming at you kind of thing, and so I just maintain that. Boy, it's painful for me to kind of see out of the corner of my eye how glitchy the video feed is. Cringe. I appreciate you guys hanging out, watching the slow-mo of the progress, the choppiness. Okay. I thought I was missing something. Folks, okay, yeah. Giovanni says, Haiti, nice. Well, hello to Haiti. Hello to Giovanni from Haiti. Love the comic style. I appreciate it. Serge says, dope Nightcrawler. I appreciate it, Serge. Or is it Sergey? Serge iView? Serge iView. You can correct me. Sofa King Handsome says, haha, for a long while, I thought it was just me that I saw the choppiness, so I wasn't going to say anything. No, I'm struggling. The choppiness is definitely my internet. It's not, my internet is actually fine, I think, because the other feed, right? This camera is okay, right? Let me know that that's okay. It's just this camera down here, for whatever reason, is just not playing well with the program. I think, anyway, that's the case, because as I'm looking up, I can see this camera. It looks like it's moving fine, but it's just the drawing board cam that is a little choppy. It freezes, and if you go back and watch the beginning, it's painful, because I tried different cameras. I tried hooking in different cameras to fix the problem, but this happens to be the best, unfortunately. This is the best. So there's different things you can do with a brush that you can't do with your normal repetograph kind of pen. Like I started off with the Pigma Micron, and then I moved into these brush pens that are, some of the tips are softer than others. Like this is a softer tip, so I can get a fatter line without much pressure, where the blue pen, I would have to press down much harder to get a fatter line, and those things kind of have their pluses and minuses. So, but I'm finishing this up here, guys. Probably another 2 or 3 minutes. Just add a little bit more contrast. So if you want to ask any questions, make any comments, discuss any deep thoughts, I am happy to answer any drawing questions, comic questions. I have yet to read my Transformers and G.I. Joe that I picked up this week. I have just not had much time this weekend. We had some guests in town, and had to spend time with my guests. They were here to celebrate my birthday, which is on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. But some family came from out of town, and so I have been a busy beaver. All right, looks like maybe over here. But yeah, you see how easy you can get like some form and texture if you know what you're doing with a brush or a brush pen. Brush pen just makes it feel like you're dipping into an inkwell thing, and you're coming out with these line weights and stuff, and it visually is more pleasing to the eye. The organicness of the brush is more visually pleasing to the eye, in my humble opinion. It adds a layer of I don't know if realism is necessarily what it's conveying, but the organic nature of the line weights make it feel a little more natural, as opposed to maybe a perfect line, a perfect rapidograph line like that. So, all right, guys, let's read up the last of the chats. I'm gonna assign it here, and then I'll put this on Etsy, guys. If you care to own this will be $25 on Etsy. As soon as I get off, I'm going to scan it and post it, and then I'll post a link to it if you're watching it on the repeat. Do I want to do 2025? I think I like that better than just the 25. So we go back in, we use the smaller brush, and then I'll show you guys the mask again, because the mask is so cool. The 3D printed mask of Alpha Red. If you're joining me late and you want to see the 3D mask that I printed of my comic Alpha Red. If you're not familiar with Alpha Red, he's an independent comic that I create. I just finished issue number 6, working on issue number 7, and that's it for that picture, guys. Oh my goodness, it's still frozen. It is still frozen, and I am feeling super bad. I'm gonna set this down here, and then just go to the big camera, because I'm extremely frustrated with that. Let's just hit the full screen. Well, guys, this is the mask. Alpha Red right behind me. If you see this way, this is Alpha Red over here, and this is the 3D mask that just came in on Friday. Let me see if I can make it almost fit me on my face. It's not the right size. It's a little narrow, but it's so cool to have like a life-size thing right in your hand of something that you drew. And it's my fault that it's a little too narrow. They asked me for the measurements, and I was measuring the outsides of the ears here, and so like to get my head, my face in, just not gonna work. But let me just read up on the last of the chats, and then we'll say good night, and maybe see you sometime this week. So Angel Ayala says, I see its perspective, but it looks like Nightcrawler has a feminine waist. Okay, let's check out the drawing board here. Okay, so I do. This is probably what you're seeing over here. The feminine waist is him. Like, what I'm trying to do is have his waist pushed forward a little bit to just kind of show that he's kind of folding in the middle. But I can see that. I can see that. And if you can unfeminize it just a little bit. I think if I do that, and you can't see it because it's frozen. It's so painful. It's so painful that that it's frozen like this. But I see what you mean. So I don't know, Angel, if you I just fixed that right there while it was frozen. But other than that, it's all right. Good. Sofa King Handsome says, haha, for a long time I thought it was okay, that I just missed it. Okay, keep it up, pal. Thank you. Yeah, just the left one. I wonder if it's some sort of conflict, like overbands of uploads or something. It's so the tower that I'm using for this setup is an older refurbished thing, and I wonder if it's just just old stuff. I don't know. I'll try to work out the kinks, and hopefully I can jump on sometime this week and do some more drawing, some more inking, and hopefully you'll join me. I typically do this, guys, 8 o'clock every Sunday night Eastern time, and we talk comics, we draw, and you ask me questions, I answer them. We can talk about anything you want, and hopefully you'll join me every week. If you haven't hit that like button or that subscribe button, please do that. That helps out the algorithm and shows it out to more people, and hopefully I brought some value to your evening and prepared you for the week ahead, the work week ahead. And I appreciate you joining me. I'm going to hit the outro, and because Ernest likes the outro so much, I'll help him learn the words to the outro. I'll do the outro with the lyrics on it. So until next week, guys. Next week we're doing the Sue Storm from the Rivals video game. But sometime during the week I'll be inking. I'll be doing other kind of stuff. Hopefully, that's famous last words, because I'll say that I want to, and I'll have no time. But until then, guys, thanks for joining me. Grace, peace.
From the shadows he rises with courage in his heart, a beacon of hope. He's ready to start with faith as his armor and a fire in his soul. Alpha Red stands tall, fulfilling his role. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Red. In a world full of chaos, where evil may lurk, he fights for the righteous, his mission and work. Guided by God, with strength from above, he battles the darkness with unyielding love. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Alpha Red. When the night seems too long and hope seems so far, look to the skies, you'll see his bright star. With a prayer and a promise, he faces the fight. Alpha Red shines through, the beacon of light. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. So stand tall with courage, let your faith lead the way. With Alpha Red beside us, we'll see a brighter day. For evil may tremble, but never forget, the world is protected by our hero, Alpha Red. Alpha Red. Alpha Red.